Hi everyone, my name is Mike. I have a little sister named Jessica. Once I found out about her secret, which she never told. To say that I was in shock is to say nothing. When I was 6 years old, I was joyfully informed that my mother went to the store for my sister. My mother was gone for 12 days, and then all sorts of aunts and neighbors ran in with gifts and booties, and everyone was happy and looked at something lying on my bed and constantly yawning. They told me that this is now my sister. After a good look at it, I asked my mother only two questions. Mom, couldn't you have picked a better one at the store? And why is she always making faces? That's how my little sister came into my life. As a child, like all other boys, I wanted a younger brother to play together as hooligans, but fortune gave me a little sister. Fortunately, Jessica was a kid, and we could play different boyish games. She was no worse than a boy, and could even stand up for herself. But with the arrival of my sister, all the attention in the family switched to her. All my toys were no longer mine. She could easily have come and taken anyone she wanted, and if I objected, my mother told me not to be greedy, especially for my sister's sake. Since childhood, my parents had taught me to care for and protect her, that I am, as an older brother, responsible for her. So I made sure that something did not happen to her by accident, or that she didn't put any dirt in her mouth. She always wanted to taste everything. All the items she had in her hand dragged into her mouth. I couldn't always keep track of her. Once we played with her in the courtyard of the house. She is fast and loves to run. She ran around the yard like mad. She ran so hard that her legs knocked down and she fell and hit the slide. Immediately, blood appeared on her face. I was in a panic, and I'm afraid of blood. I ran home as fast as I could and called my mother. She saw Jessie and screamed in fear and called an ambulance. While the ambulance was driving, my mother and I tried to stop the blood. Fortunately, the injury was not serious, just a split eyebrow. There was no concussion. But from the moment she starts running, I try to be close to her and run after her. She thinks we're playing catch-up, but she can run like this for hours. Sometimes it's really hard to keep up with her. Growing up, everyone has their own interests, and we were no longer able to spend time together so closely. Our communication consisted of teasing each other. I didn't even know her friends, or what she was interested in. She sat in her room all day, sometimes just going out for dinner. It was strictly forbidden to enter her room, and I had no particular desire to do so. I had my own amusements. One evening, passing by her room, I saw a laptop on her bed. In it, all the time came some messages without stopping. Usually her door was always closed. Jessica went somewhere and forgot to close the door behind her. It was really interesting to see who so relentlessly writes. I couldn't resist going in to see who it was. It turned out that her friends in the group wrote to her. Everyone asked to show them something. I understand they wanted to see something from my sister, but what exactly was not clear. At the moment when I was reading, in the room went Jessica and quickly ran up and closed the laptop. She angrily looked at me and kicked me out of the room. The question of what she was supposed to show her friends remained in my mind and did not give rest. I had to find out what it was, and I began to watch her. I tried to notice any changes, but nothing strange happened. Even went to her room one night and stole her laptop, but there was a password that I didn't know. All my attempts resulted in failure, but fortune has given me another chance. Once, I accidentally noticed a black spot on the skin under Jessica's t-shirt, something like a birthmark. But as a child, I didn't notice it, and if I did, I would have noticed it. I didn't know what it was yet, although I had various guesses in my head. Then I decided to cheat. I went without knocking to her room and said that I knew everything. I didn't even know what I knew, but my sister was in shock. First of all, for the fact that I went so unexpected, and that I knew everything. I saw panic in her eyes, and then she started crying and begging not to tell anyone about it. I honestly did not expect such a reaction from her. I said it was a joke. I did not think she would start to cry. I hadn't seen her like this. She began to calm down and admit that it was a joke. She barely regained consciousness. And since then, there is still some kind of secret. She had no other choice. She had to share her information. She picked up and showed me her belly tattoo. There was a drawing of a butterfly. I was really shocked. The fact is that our family strictly followed the rules in sequence. We were not even allowed to go out or hang out. And if our parents found out about the tattoo, the scandal would be strong. She told me that she has a best friend named Emily. So this girl was also very nimble. And unfortunately, her appendix was removed as a child. The scar was large and not beautiful. She didn't know how to cover it and decided to get a tattoo on the scar. But she was doubting and didn't have the courage to do it. And my sister, as a best friend, decided to support her and agreed to do a tattoo with her, so they did both. After hearing the story, I seemed to understand that friends need to be supported. But so, it was too much for me. Jessica asked me not to tell my parents, otherwise she'd get in a lot of trouble. I decided to keep this secret with her. After all, she is my sister. We must support each other. I promised that no one would find out about it, but she forbade me to do such reckless things. And of course, as an older brother, I advised her to behave well. So I had a little secret with my sister. Of course, it is bad that our parents were not told. I feel guilty in front of them. But I hope that in time there will be a convenient moment when my sister will be able to admit about her tattoo. Hi guys, I'm Charlie. I want to tell you a story about how I spent a week in a women's hostel. It happened that I was the only one of the guys there. To be honest, it was a bit of a shock to me. I've made a lot of new discoveries that I want to share with you. After this difficult week, I confess to you, I already saw the world differently. In my family, only my mother is female, a male father and 2 brothers, so I grew up mostly in a male group. And I didn't go into women's details. There wasn't much interest. I didn't even know how to behave around ladies, and at school, I liked hanging out with the boys more. After high school, I went to university in Florida, but it was miles from home. I couldn't go to school every day from home. Accordingly, I decided to take care of accommodation in advance and applied for a place in the dormitory, and everything seemed to be going well, but I wanted to move to Florida in advance and have a good look around the city. I packed up and left a week early, but of course it doesn't always happen the way we want it to. Upon arrival in the city, I noticed the dormitory where I took a place is currently finishing renovation work. I couldn't check in yet. Apparently, they forgot to warn me about this in advance. But where was I going to live that week? I wasn't thinking. I couldn't rent an apartment because I didn't have much money. But fortunately, I was offered a separate room in a women's hostel. There wasn't anything strange about it, so I agreed. This is where all my discoveries began. Upon arrival, I arranged my things. I lay down to rest a little from the road, and didn't notice and fell asleep. I was awakened by loud shouts and wild laughter. As it turned out, it was just the girls in the next room communicating with each other. There was an active session on how the guys behaved and how delicious the burgers were. This made me laugh a little. It was already evening, and I decided to take a short walk around the city and have dinner at the same time. Unfortunately, I didn't know anyone in Florida, so I was walking by myself. I returned to the dorm late in the evening. On arrival, I saw that all the girls were actively going somewhere. As it turned out, they were preparing to go to a party. Everyone was running down the hall, trying on each other's clothes as if their entire wardrobe was a big free market. I calmly walked to my room and went to sleep in the morning. I again woke up from the noise. It turns out that when they come home drunk from a party, for them, any little thing is the funniest thing in the world. Oh my God, ha ha ha, I just ate a carrot. I couldn't sleep because of the noise. I listened to their conversations until morning. I even tried to tap on the wall to calm them down, But you know, when girls try to be quiet, they make an incredible noise with their shh. When I went to the bathroom in the morning, I saw a staggering number of different jars and bottles, just thousands of them. These innumerable bottles are littering the bathroom, all the shelves, bags, and even the floor. And in the shower itself, I saw clumps of hair stuck to the wall. That's about how all the days in the dorm went. Many girls did not close the door to their room. It was then that I learned all the details. In each group, there is one girl who plays the role of mother to everyone else. She helps everyone take off their makeup, carries water, and makes sure that everyone is home in the evening. And there is one of them that is responsible for evenly applying arrows to the eyes. The others seem useless. There are things they call chicken fillets, and it's not the kind of fillet that we guys eat. Once I was not allowed to go to the toilet from 5 in the evening because there was a queue for the shower until 11, and then for another 3 hours for makeup. Every night during the party preparations, I heard the phrase, "God, I'm so fat, I can't fit into this." And guys, they will always change clothes several times. Do yourself a favor and go to sleep. Do you think that if she tries on a third outfit, she will be ready soon? Ha! Each girl has 2 cosmetic bags, one with cosmetics that they really need all the time, and the other is never used. It's full of stuff they haven't even touched. But they always take it with them, and wherever you look, there will be invisible hair. Gender, invisible man. A bed, invisible man. Shower, invisible again. In general, I couldn't wait until this week passed so I could safely move to my dorm. That's how I learned a lot about girls. Share this video and tell us what other oddities you noticed in them.